and today will be my last video for not a long time. Tomorrow I'm going to film again, but I'm going to start filming on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, not daily anymore, because, I don't know, I just decided it'd be much better, because some of you guys are working, or some of you guys are kids watching my channel. I don't know who's watching my channel. My channel's for all ages. It doesn't matter who's watching my channel. We're going to continue, with page 21 of the Revenge of the Sith novel. I decided I want to film this, so we're going to move my keyboard real quick. And I've been gone for a while, and I have a video on that on my Name Our Plays channel. Go check that out. We're going to continue reading. And, hold up a bit, guys. I'll be right back. I gotta go do something. Alright, guys. I'm back. Just gotta do something real quick. Alright. So we're gonna start reading, and now. Anakin. He was defended by Stas, Ali, and Shakti. If two masters could not prevent this, do you think you could? Stas Ali is clever and valiant. Shakti is the most cunning Jedi I've ever met. She's even taught me a few tricks. Anakin assumed he was supposed to be impressed, but General Grievous, Master T, had faced him before. Anakin, after Monolith, she is not only subtle and experienced, but very capable indeed. Seats on the Jedi Council aren't handed out as party favors. I've noticed. He let it drop. The middle of a space battle was no place to get into this particular source subject. If only he'd been here instead of Shakti and Stas Ali, council members or not. If he had been here, Chancellor Palpatine would be home and safe already. Instead, Anakin had been stuck running around the Outer Rim for months like some useless Padawan, and all Palpatine had for protectors were Jedi who were clever and subtle. He could whip any 10 clever and subtle Jedi with his lightsaber tied behind his back. But he knew better than to say so. Put yourself in the moment, Anakin. Focus. Copy that, Master, Anakin said dryly, focusing now. R2-D2 twittered, and Anakin checked his console readout. We've got him, Master. The cruiser's dead ahead. That's Grievous's flagship. Invisible hand, Anakin. Invisible hand. Anakin, there are dozens of cruisers dead ahead. It's the only one crawling with vulture fighters. The vulture fighters clinging to the long curves of the Trade Federation cruiser indicated by Palpatine's beacon. I guess I'm talking like Ewan McGregor. And that's my worst Obi-Wan impression. Okay. Gave it eerily lifelike ripples, like some metallic marine bristling with Alderanian walking barnacles. Oh, that one. He could practically hear Obi-Wan's stomach dropping. Oh, this should be easy. Now, some of them stripped themselves from the cruiser, ignited their drives, and came looping toward the two Jedi. Easy? No. But it might be fun. Sometimes a little teasing was the only way to get Obi-Wan to loosen up. Lunch at Dex says, I'll blast 2 for each of yours. R2 can keep score. Anakin. Alright, dinner. And I promise this time I won't let R2 cheat. No games, Anakin. There's too much at stake. There was the tone Anakin had been looking for, a slightly scolding, schoolmasterish edge. Obi-Wan was back on form. Have your droid tight beam a Jedi report to the temple, and said a call for any Jedi in starfighters will come at it from all sides. Way ahead of you. But when he checked his comm readout, he shook his head. There's still too much ECM. R2 can't raise the temple. I think the only reason we can't even talk to each other is that we're practically side by side. And Jedi beacons? No joy, Master. Anakin's stomach clenched, but he fought the tension out of his voice. We may be the only 2 Jedi out here. Then we will have to be enough. Switching to clone fighter channel. Anakin spun his comm dial to the new frequency in time to hear everyone say, Oddball, do you copy? We need help. The clone's captain helmet speaker flattened the humanity of his voice. Copy, Red Leader. Okay, there we go. Mark my position. Form your squad by. Mark my position. Mark my position. Form your squad behind me. We're going again. On our way. On our way. I can't talk like a clone. The droid fighters had lost themselves against the background of the battle, but R2-D2 was tracking them on a scan. Anakin shifted his grip on his starfighter's control yoke. 10 vultures inbound, high and left to my orientation. More on the way. I have them, Anakin. I have them, Anakin. Wait, the cruiser's base shields have dropped. I'm running full. No 6 ships incoming. Obi-Wan's voice rose. Try fighters, coming in fast. Coming in fast. Anakin smiled tightened. This was about to get interesting. Try fighters, Master. The vultures can wait. Agreed. Slip back and right. Swing behind me. We'll take them on the slant. Let Obi-Wan go first with a blown left control surface and a half-crippled R unit. With Palpatine's life at stake, not likely. Negative, Anakin said. I'm going head-to-head. See you on the far side. Take it easy. Wait for Oddball at Squad 7. Anakin! He could hear the frustration in Obi-Wan's voice as he kicked his starfighter's sublights and surged past his former master. Still hadn't gotten used to not being able to order Anakin around. Not that Anakin had ever been much for following orders, Obi-Wan's or anyone else's. Sorry we're late. Sorry we're late. The digitized voice of the clone, whose call sign was Oddball, sounded as calm as if he were ordering dinner. We're on your right, Red Leader. But where's Red 5? Anakin, form up. But Anakin was already streaking to meet the Trade Federation fighters incoming. But Obi-Wan's familiar sigh clearly is over the comm. Anakin knew exactly what the Jedi Master was thinking. The same thing he was always thinking. He still has much to learn. Anakin smiled thin to a grim, straight line as enemy starfighters swarmed around him. He thought the same thing he always thought. We'll see about that. He gave himself to the battle, and his starfighter whirled, and his cannons hammered, and droids on all sides began to burst into clouds of debris and superheated gas. This was how he relaxed. This is Anakin Skywalker, the most powerful Jedi of his generation, perhaps of any generation, the fastest, the strongest, an unbeatable pilot, an unstoppable warrior on the ground, in the air, or sea, or space. There is no one even close. He has not just power, not just skill, but dash, that rare and valuable combination of boldness and grace. He is the best there is at what he does. The best there has ever been, and he knows it. HoloNet features call him the hero with no fear, and why not? What should he be afraid of, except fear lives inside him already, chewing away the firewalls around his heart. Anakin sometimes thinks of the dread that eats at his heart as his dragon. Children on Tatooine tell each other of the dragons that live inside the sun. Smaller cousins of the sun dragons are supposed to live inside the fusion furnaces that power everything from starships to pod racers. But Anakin's fear is another kind of dragon, a cold kind, a dead kind, not nearly dead enough. Not long after he became Obi-Wan's Padawan, all those years ago, a minor mission had brought them to a dead system, one so immeasurably old that its star had long ago turned to a frigid dwarf of hyper-compacted trace metals, hovering a quantum fraction of a degree above absolute zero. Anakin couldn't even remember what the mission might have been, but he'd never forgotten that dead star. It had scared him. Stars can die. It is the way of the universe, which is another manner of saying that is the will of the Force. Obi-Wan is the way of the universe, which is another manner of saying that is the will of the Force. Obi-Wan had told him. Everyone dies, even stars burn out. This is why Jedi form no attachments. All things pass. To hold on to something or someone beyond its time is to set your selfish desires against the Force. That is a path of misery, Anakin. The Jedi do not walk it. That is the kind of fear that lives inside Anakin Skywalker, the dragon of that dead star. It is an ancient, cold, dead voice within his heart that whispers all things die. In bright day, he can't hear it. A battle, a mission, even a report before the Jedi Council can't the whisper all. But at night can make him forget it's even there. But at night, the walls he has built sometimes start to frost over. Sometimes they start to crack. At night, the dead star dragon sometimes sneaks around the cracks and crawls up into his brain and chews at the inside of his skull. The dragon whispers of what Anakin has lost and what he will lose. The dragon reminds him every night of how he held his dying mother in his arms, of how she had spent her last strength to say, "I knew you would come for me. I knew you would come for me, Anakin." The dragon reminds him every night that someday he will lose Obi-Wan, he will lose Padme, or they will lose him. All things die, Anakin Skywalker, even stars burn out. And the only answers he ever has for these dead, cold whispers are his memories of Obi-Wan's voice or Yoda's, but sometimes he can't quite remember them. All things die. He can barely even think about it. But right now, he doesn't have a choice. The man he flies to rescue is a closer friend than he'd ever hoped to have. That's what puts the edge in his voice when he tries to make a joke. That's what flattens his mouth and tightens the burn scar high on his right cheek. The Supreme Chancellor has been family to Anakin, always there, always caring, always free with advice and insisting aid, a sympathetic ear, and a kindly, loving, and unconditional acceptance of Anakin exactly as he is. The sort of acceptance Anakin would never get from another Jedi, not even from Obi-Wan. He could tell Palpatine things he could never share with his master. He could tell Palpatine things he can't even tell Padme. Now the Supreme Chancellor is in the worst kind of danger, and Anakin is on his way, despite the dread boiling through his blood. That's what makes him a real hero, not the way the HoloNet labels him, not without fear, but stronger than fear. He looks the dragon in the eye and doesn't even slow down. If anyone can save Palpatine, Anakin will, but he's already the best, and he's still getting better, but locked away behind the walls of his heart. The dragon that is his fear coils and squirms and hisses, because his real fear in a universe where even stars can die is that being the best will never be quite good enough. Obi-Wan's starfighter jolted sideways. Anakin whipped by him and used his forward attitude jets to kick himself into his skew flip, facing backward to blast the last of the tri-fighters on his tail. Now, there were only vulture droids left. A lot of vulture droids. Did you like that one, Master? Very pretty. Obi-Wan's cannon stitched plasma across the whole of his swooping vulture fighter until the droid exploded. But we're not through yet. Watch this. Anakin flipped his starfighter again and dived, spinning directly through the flock of vulture droids. Their drives blazed as they came around. He led them streaking for the upper deck of a laser-scarred separatist cruiser. I'm going to lead them through the needle. Don't lead them anywhere. Obi-Wan's threat displayed to tallied the vultures on Anakin's tail. 12 of them. 12. First Jedi principle of combat. Survive. No choice. Anakin slipped his starfighter through the storm of cannon fire. Come down and thin them out a little. Obi-Wan slammed his control yoke forward as though jamming it against its impact rest would push his battered fighter faster. In pursuit, nothing fancy awful, as though the damaged droid were even capable of anything fancy. Just hold me steady. He reached into the Force and felt for his shot. On my mark, brake left. Now! The shutdown control surface of his left wing turned the left brake into a tight overhead spiral that traversed Obi-Wan's guns across the paths of 4 vultures. Flash, 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 and all 4 were gone. He flew on through the clouds of glowing plasma. He couldn't waste time going around. Anakin still had 8 of them on his tail. And what was this? Obi-Wan frowned. The cruiser looked familiar. The needle? He thought, oh, please Say you're kidding. Anakin's starfighter skimmed only meters above the cruiser's dorsal hull. Cannon misses from the vulture fighter, swooping toward him, blasted chunks out of the cruiser's armor. Okay, R2, where's that trench? His forward screen lit with a topograph of the cruiser. Oh my god. Topograph of the cruiser's hull just lay ahead the trench that Obi-Wan had led the Tri-Fighter into. Anakin flipped his starfighter through a razor-sharp wing over, down past the rim. The walls of the service trench flashed past him as he streaked for the bridge tower at the far end. From here, he couldn't even see the minuscule slit between its support struts. With 8 vulture droids in pursuit, he never pulled off a slant up the tower's leading edge as Obi-Wan had, but that was all right. He wasn't planning to. His cockpit comm buzzed. Don't try it, Anakin. It's too tight. Too tight for me. For you, maybe. I'll get through. R2-D2 whistled nervous. Agreement with Obi-Wan. Easy, R2, Anakin said. We've done this before. Cannon fire blazed past him, impacting on the support struts ahead. Too late to change his mind now. He was committed. He would bring his ship through, or he would die. Right now, strangely, he didn't actually care which. Use the Force. Use the Force. Obi-Wan sounded worried. Think yourself through, and the ship will follow. What do you expect me to do? Close my eyes and whistle? Anakin muttered under his breath, then said aloud, Copy that. Thinking now. And R2-D2's squeal was as close to terrified as a droid can sound. Glowing letters spidered across Anakin's readout. Abort. Anakin smiled. Wrong thought. Obi-Wan could only stare open-mouthed as Anakin's starfighter snapped onto its side and scraped through the slit with centimeters to spare. He fully expected one of the struts to knock R2's dome off. The vulture droids tried to follow, but they were just a hair too big. But when the first two impacted, Obi-Wan triggered his cannons in a downward sweep. The evasion maneuvers pre-programmed into the vulture fighter's droid brains and sent them diving away from Obi-Wan's lasers, straight into the fireball expanding from the front of the struts. Obi-Wan looked up to find Anakin soaring straight out from the cruiser with a quick snap roll of victory. Obi-Wan matched his course without the flourish. I'll give you the first four, Anakin said over the comm, but the other 8 are mine. Anakin. Alright, we'll split them. Alright, we'll split them. As they left the cruiser behind, their sensors showed Squad 7 dead ahead. The clone pilots were fully engaged, looping through a dogfight so tight that their John trails looked like a glowing ball of string. Oddball's in trouble. I'm gonna help him out. Don't. He's doing his job. We need to do ours. Master, they're getting eaten alive. Every one of them would gladly trade his life for Palpatine's. Will you trade Palpatine's life for... Palpatine's life for... No. Of course not, but... Anakin, I understand you want to save everyone. You always do, but you can't. Anakin's voice went tight. Don't remind me. Head for the command ship without waiting for a reply. Obi-Wan targeted the command cruiser and shot away at maximum thrust. The cross of burned scar beside Anakin's eye went pale as he turned his starfighter in pursuit. Obi-Wan was right. He almost always was. You can't save everyone. His mother's body broken and bloody in his arms. Her battered eyes struggling to open. The touch of her smashed lips. And I knew you would come to me. I missed you so much. That's what it was. That was what it was to be good enough. It could happen anytime, any place. If he was a few minutes late, if he let his attention drift for a single second, if he was a whisker too weak. And that is the first. That's 30 pages, guys. That is the first 30 pages. and I really think it's really good so far, guys. Really good. I'm really excited to continue reading, and I'm gonna continue reading this every single day. And yeah, so thank you guys so much for reading my video, reading along with me, listening to me read if you don't have the book. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.